All right. Hello, these are my 5 viewers. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That'll be the audience. Here we go. Good evening, everyone. My name is Kenneth Esparza, and today I'll be speaking on a topic that is very intriguing, and that is whether video games play a role in making children violent. Video games became popular in the 1970s and have only grown in popularity since then. With the advances in technology these days, there have been drastic improvements in video games. For example, the lifelike characters and scenery you see as you run around, crystal clear graphics, and software upgrades assist in how smoothly and efficiently games operate nowadays compared to their predecessors. Even though video games are loved and cherished by many, not everyone is completely sold on them. One common question that makes video games debatable is, do video games play a role in making kids violent? Like a lot of you, and many kids around the world that grew up playing games, we saw that there were many different types of games, and the categories varied immensely. You could be a hedgehog and roll around, going over ramps, loop-de-loops, collecting coins. Or if that wasn't for you, you could be a wizard and make your way through giant castles and caverns. And if that also wasn't your cup of tea, you could also throw in a simple puzzle game just to occupy your time. Once you finish playing your game, you just carry on with the rest of your day doing whatever other chores or tasks that you have planned. Some people do not see it as the case though, and assume kids will portray what happens in these games in real life. Violent games are their main focus when it comes to this topic. However, after playing an adventure game, I never went outside and pretended to cast spells and throw lightning bolts trying to be a wizard. Just like after playing a racing game, I didn't go out and get my parents' vehicle and try to race it up and down the freeway. After playing an action game or shooting, I did not get an urge to go out and fire weapons. I bring up these examples of different types of games because of how people have been thinking this might activate a child's aggression, making them emulate the behaviors or actions they see on the games. When people wrap up playing games, it doesn't make them want to imitate what they see on the screens. All it is pure enjoyment. When you think of violence that involves children, the first thing that doesn't normally come to mind is violence being created for video games. You would have the same thought as most people. There are people in the world, adult and children alike, that take measures to the extremes and choose violence. Whether it's because of their beliefs, their upbringing, mental conditions, or a variety of other different topics that could cause people to act out in these ways. Violent people are just that, they're violent. While reading the article, Could Violent Games Reduce Rather Than Increase Violence? By Patrick Kiergaard of the University of Essex. Mr. Kiergaard stated, "It is possible that certain types of video games could affect emotions, views, behavior, and attitudes. However, so can books, which can lead to violent behavior on those already predisposed to violence." The major takeaway from this quote is how there are individuals that already have their mindset on causing violence. This means it would not matter if it was a video game, book, movie, or any other kind of entertainment or writing that they came across. That individual had the violence inside them the whole time, and it was not created solely off a video game. Author Mark Griffiths noted in his article, Violent Video Games and Aggression, that the correlation results indicate that more aggressive children are drawn to video games rather than their aggression being drawn from the video games. These findings make it difficult to place the blame on the video games themselves. If a child has a violent nature or tendencies, all effort should be made to provide assistance for that child to manage these outbursts. The big question of do violent video games make kids violent is not a bad question to have. When you watch and see some of the missions or goals that you were asked to perform or complete, you can see why some people may have their questions. As an example, the game titled Mortal Kombat is a side-scrolling, arcade-style fighting game, and this game is all about being very graphic and based around fighting one another. Witnessing the gameplay could easily raise a red flag for a parent, especially if they are unaware of the type of game and what it entails. Another popular title that comes to mind and has caused waves in this debate is Call of Duty. Call of Duty is a first-person action shooting game and is normally based around some kind of war. But within the last 10 years or so, they've slowly strayed away from that storyline and have moved in the direction of present-day terrorism. What this game brings to the debate is how sometimes you're in the role of the bad guys. There is an infamous mission this game has, and it is one where a player has to make their way through a crowded airport, and you're forced to perform extremely questionable actions. When someone watches games like these unfold and they're unaware of what exactly they're watching, they have a valid negative impression of these games and how it may cause violence in our youth. However, to combat these kids from playing these types of games, there is this board that is called the Entertainment Software Rating Board, ESRB for short. They set the ratings for games based on what players will come across while they're playing. These ratings range from E for everyone to M for mature, which is 17 and older. And they are used to advise people on the recommended ages for the players that are participating. This prevents anyone under the recommended age set by the ESRB to purchase said games. This is a preventative measure that is effective and helps keep the audience within the recommended ages, which can help prevent the stigma of causing violence in children. As we continue to advance our technology, video games will always be present for all of us to enjoy. Even though video games are very much enjoyable as a source of entertainment, imitating what kids see on video games might not be our biggest worry. If there are any signs of violent tendencies in a child, we should be seeking out professional help to address these issues instead of finding somewhere to place the blame. Many popular titles have violence as their main actions, and they are huge sellers and will not be going away anytime soon. With the help of the ESRB, keeping the appropriate audience to play certain games, and parents being aware of what games are being played and that they're purchasing for their children, can mitigate kids from playing the games that are intended for a mature group. With proper monitoring and providing children with the help they need should help with the naysayers that is not a topic that should be as debatable as it is now. This is the conclusion of my speech, and thank you for your time. Have a great day. Oh, thank you.